It starts with a simple decision. Tonight you'll skip dinner. Maybe you're not that hungry. Maybe you ate a late lunch, or maybe you're just curious what would happen. You tell yourself it's just one meal, no big deal. But the moment you make that choice, something extraordinary begins. Your body notices immediately. Within minutes, hormones shift. Enzymes that were preparing for digestion pause mid-production. And deep in your cells, an ancient program awakens, one that knows the sun has set and it's time for something else entirely. See, your body has a biological relationship with sunset that we've completely forgotten. For 200,000 years, humans rarely ate after dark. No refrigeration, no artificial light. Hunting at night was dangerous, and cooking attracted predators. So we evolved with a simple pattern. Eat while the sun shines, repair while it doesn't. But now, the average person eats dinner at 7, 8, even 9 p.m., flooding their system with insulin, just when their body wants to produce melatonin. It's like trying to sleep while someone's vacuuming. Your biology is screaming for rest while you're forcing it to digest. Look, before we dive deeper into what happens over these 14 days, this is educational content, not medical advice. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, have diabetes, any history with eating disorders, or you're under 18, talk to your healthcare professional first. This isn't about extremes. It's about understanding what your body does naturally when you stop fighting its rhythm. What if I told you there's actually a 4-hour window every evening when eating literally fights your biology? Between sunset and bedtime, your body wants to shift into repair mode. But most of us interrupt this process with our biggest meal of the day. We call it dinner, but your body calls it disruption. And over the next 14 days of skipping this meal, you're about to discover just how powerful alignment can be. Here's what's fascinating. The moment the sun sets, your body starts producing melatonin. Not just the sleep hormone. Melatonin is one of your most powerful antioxidants. But when you eat dinner, insulin rises and actually blocks melatonin production. You've literally chosen digestion over restoration. Skip dinner though, and this natural cascade can finally happen the way evolution designed it. Your body whispers thank you, even as your stomach growls in protest. Days 1 to 2, the sunset switch. That first evening without dinner feels strange. Around 7 p.m., your stomach starts its familiar rumbling. It's expecting food trained by years of routine. But here's what's actually happening. That hunger you feel isn't emergency. It's habit. Your body releases ghrelin, the hunger hormone, based on timing, not true need. If you ate lunch at noon and had 600 calories, your body has plenty of fuel until tomorrow. That growling, it's just your stomach saying, hey, isn't this when we usually do the thing? But push through those first 2 hours and something remarkable happens. By 9 p.m., the hunger often fades. Your body stops waiting and starts shifting. Insulin drops to its lowest point of the day. And when insulin drops, growth hormone rises. This isn't just any hormone. Growth hormone increases by up to 5 times during overnight fasting. Think about that. 5 times. It's your body's fountain of youth, and it only flows freely when your stomach is empty. By morning after that first skipped dinner, you might notice something unexpected. You wake up alert. Not groggy, not desperate for coffee. Alert. That's because your body spent the night in repair mode instead of digestion mode. Your liver wasn't processing that late-night pasta. Instead, it was creating ketones, clean-burning fuel for your brain. Some people describe it as waking up with the mental clarity they usually don't feel until after their second cup of coffee. The second night gets easier. Your stomach might grumble around dinner time again, but it's quieter, less insistent. That hunger at 8 p.m., it passes within 30 minutes if you just let it. Drink some water, take a walk, and watch how your body adapts. By the end of day 2, you've given your digestive system its first real break in probably years. Days 3 to 5, the ketone awakening. By day 3, something shifts in your brain chemistry. You're entering what scientists call metabolic flexibility, your ability to switch between fuel sources. After going 16 hours without food each day, your liver starts producing more ketones from stored fat. These aren't just backup fuel. Ketones are premium brain fuel. They burn cleaner than glucose, producing less oxidative stress. It's like switching from regular gasoline to high-octane fuel. Your brain responds to ketones by producing more BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain. It helps grow new neural connections and protects existing ones. Studies show that fasting increases BDNF production by up to 400%. This isn't just about feeling sharper. Your brain is literally rewiring itself for better function. Here's where things get interesting. Around day 4, autophagy kicks into high gear. This is the process that won Yoshinori Osumi the Nobel Prize in 2016. He discovered that when you fast, your cells start breaking down and recycling damaged components. Think of it as Marie Kondo for your cells. They're literally asking, does this damaged protein spark joy? No, it gets recycled into useful amino acids. This cellular cleanup can't happen when you're constantly feeding. It needs the quiet space that skipping dinner provides. Buddhist monks have known this for centuries. They follow a practice of not eating after noon, and it's not just spiritual, it's biological wisdom. They report mental clarity and emotional stability that modern science is just beginning to explain. When you skip dinner for several days, you start to understand what they've always known. Evening fasting creates a different kind of awareness. By day 5, most people report something surprising. The evening hunger has almost disappeared. Your body has learned the new rhythm. More importantly, you might notice your mood stabilizing. Without the blood sugar roller coaster of a late dinner followed by dessert, your emotions feel steadier. That anxiety that used to creep in around bedtime, often it was just your body struggling to digest while trying to prepare for sleep. But let's be real. If you're feeling dizzy and it lasts more than 10 minutes, eat something. Don't be a hero. This isn't about suffering. A slight headache as your brain switches fuel sources, that's normal. But severe headache, heart palpitations, or extreme fatigue, that's your body saying, this might not be for you right now. Listen to it. Days 6-8. The rhythm reset. Something magical happens around day 6. You start falling asleep faster, not because you're exhausted, but because your circadian rhythm has finally aligned. Without that late-night insulin spike from dinner, melatonin rises naturally and powerfully. You might find yourself genuinely sleepy by 10 p.m., something that hasn't happened naturally in years. Japanese researchers discovered something fascinating. People who stop eating 3 hours before bed reduce their diabetes risk by 40%. 40%. Not from a drug or supplement, just from timing. But when you skip dinner entirely, you're giving yourself not 3, but potentially 6 or 7 hours of digestive rest before sleep. Your pancreas, which produces insulin, finally gets to clock out for the night. Your deep sleep phases, the ones where real restoration happens, extend by about 20%. You might start having more vivid dreams. That's because your brain has more energy available for memory consolidation and processing rather than managing digestion. Some people report waking up naturally before their alarm, feeling genuinely refreshed rather than grudgingly functional. By day 8, you might notice something else. You feel slightly cool in the evenings. Don't panic. Your metabolism is adapting, becoming more efficient. Your body temperature naturally drops in the evening anyway. It's part of preparing for sleep. Without dinner, this process happens more dramatically. Grab a sweater, but know this is normal. Your metabolism isn't broken, it's optimizing. The mental clarity at this stage becomes remarkable. Mornings especially feel different. That fog that used to take an hour and 2 coffees to clear, gone. You're sharp from the moment you open your eyes. Your brain has been running on ketones all night, and it's loving this clean energy source. Days 9-11, the gut revolution. Around day 9, your digestive system undergoes a quiet revolution. Every night when your stomach is empty for long enough, something called the migrating motor complex activates. Think of it as your gut's overnight cleaning crew. It creates waves of movement that sweep debris, bacteria, and waste through your intestines. But here's the catch. It only works when you haven't eaten for at least 4 hours, and it works best during sleep. When you skip dinner, this cleaning crew gets a full 13 to 16 hours to work. They're not just tidying up, they're deep cleaning. Old bacteria that have been camping out in your small intestine get swept away. The gut lining, which regenerates every 3 to 5 days, gets a chance to properly repair without constant food irritation. You might hear gurgling sounds at night. That's not hunger. That's your gut finally doing its housekeeping properly. Some people get worried about these sounds, but they're actually a sign that your digestive system is working exactly as designed. It's like hearing your dishwasher running. It means cleaning is happening. By day 11, something else shifts. Your microbiome starts rebalancing. The bacteria in your gut have been living in a constant feast for years. Now, during your overnight fasting window, they enter a different state. They start eating their own waste products, cleaning up their environment. It sounds gross, but it's brilliant. Your gut bacteria are literally recycling, creating compounds that reduce inflammation and support your immune system. Remember, 70% of your immune system lives in your gut. When your gut is constantly processing dinner, dessert, and late-night snacks, your immune system is always partially activated, dealing with food particles. But give it a break from evening eating, and it can focus on actual threats, rather than that 9 p.m. bowl of ice cream. If you feel slight gurgling or movement in your belly at night around day 10, that's actually perfect. That's your migrating motor complex doing exactly what it should. But if you're experiencing pain, severe bloating, or any concerning symptoms, don't push through. Your body knows best. Days 12-14. The metabolic memory. By day 12, your body has learned something profound. It has developed what researchers call metabolic flexibility, the ability to seamlessly switch between burning sugar and burning fat. When you skip dinner consistently, your body stops panicking about the absence of food. Instead, it smoothly transitions to burning stored fat for fuel. Your insulin sensitivity has improved by about 25%. This means when you do eat during your eating window, your body needs less insulin to manage blood sugar. Less insulin means less fat storage, less inflammation, and more stable energy. It's like your metabolism has learned a new language, the language of efficiency. But here's where balance becomes critical. If your breakfast and lunch aren't providing enough nutrients, you might start feeling genuinely fatigued by day 12. This isn't about calories. You can get plenty of those. It's about nutrients. Make sure your eating window includes quality proteins, healthy fats, and essential minerals. If you're feeling cold all the time, slightly dizzy, or your sleep is getting worse instead of better by day 12, Your body might be saying it needs more nutrition during your eating hours. The psychological shift by day 14 is perhaps the most powerful. You've proven to yourself that you don't need to eat constantly to survive and thrive. That urgent must eat now feeling that used to control your evenings. You've discovered it was largely fiction. You've developed a new relationship with hunger. It's become a gentle signal rather than a screaming alarm. Your body has also created a metabolic memory. Even after these 14 days end, your improved insulin sensitivity and metabolic flexibility persist for weeks, sometimes months. You've essentially taught your body a new skill, the ability to comfortably switch between fed and fasted states. By the final day, day 14, you might look back at that first skipped dinner and barely recognize that version of yourself. The one who thought skipping dinner would be torture. Now you know better. You weren't depriving yourself. You were aligning yourself with a rhythm as old as humanity itself. 2 weeks have passed, 14 dinners skipped. But what you've gained is profound metabolic flexibility, improved insulin sensitivity, better sleep, mental clarity, and perhaps most importantly, the knowledge that your body is far more adaptable than you ever imagined. This isn't about never eating dinner again. It's about understanding that constantly feeding isn't necessary for survival and might actually be preventing your body from performing its nightly maintenance. Some people continue skipping dinner a few nights a week. Others return to regular eating, but earlier in the evening. The point isn't to be perfect, it's to be aware. Look, the truth is this practice doesn't work for everyone. If you're pregnant, breastfeeding, have a history of eating disorders, type 1 diabetes, or you're still growing, this isn't for you right now. And that's okay. The goal isn't to push everyone into the same pattern. It's to understand what your body is capable of when you work with its natural rhythm rather than against it. You're not skipping dinner. You're honoring your sunset biology. You're giving your body the gift of time. Time to repair, restore, and remember what balance feels like. Every culture that practices fasting has discovered this same truth. Sometimes, the most nourishing thing you can do is not eat. What's harder for you, skipping breakfast or dinner? Drop one word in the comments. Breakfast or dinner? I'm genuinely curious because everyone